Gotta go back over that.
I've been banned from touching the phone. I'm not even touching it this time. I don't think I did anything wrong. Trish caused the earthquake there that you just saw. So it's not me. It's not me. I'm sorry. Sorry. I don't like it when things don't go just smooth as glass. You want me? Okay, I got you. So, wanted to go back over the contest one more time, just in case anybody missed it or is logging back in. I'm very sorry, folks. Anyways, like our page, share what we got going on. Hey Nick, we're working on this here. Maximus, see if you can request an invite. See if you can do that, because it's not working through the comment this time. No, we see you. See if you can request to join. Try it that way. As I try and get this put back up there. What's up, Alex? Oh, there we go. There you go. If you want to let him in real quick.
Hello.
She blocked me. She actually blocked me from touching the phone. I want you all to know that. It's the type of abuse I deal with this woman, man. We got it all fixed. We got it all fixed. We're good. He's coming over. It's going to be great now. Sorry about the little stumbles there. I was talking scared if it didn't get off to a little bit of a rough start. So it is what it is. Maximus, finally, welcome. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you? And I want to say a big happy birthday to Trish.
Thank you.
She is. I've given her a good day today. I think I did all right. We went to an abandoned place, which is like her most favoriteest thing ever. We're doing this with you. And by the way, I have to say this: Maximus is quite possibly the coolest name in the history of names.
It was pretty awesome. Like even in middle school, the movie Gladiator came out. And I was a wrestler. So when I wrestled, and then, if I pinned someone or something, some of my teammates would be like, Maximus, Maximus.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little jealous because I just got JC, and nobody's ever chanted James or JC or anything like that. So, but Maximus, man, that's been chanted for years now. I mean, it's centuries, since the beginning of time, probably. So that's a legendary name, man. So anyways, we are here with Maximus. He is a haunt actor, works with the building crew, event coordinator during off-season at Dent. Also been a haunt actor at Fright on Fountain, board director on the Ohio Haunters Association, and to top it all off, he is part of the committee that is putting on the Ohio Halloween and Haunters Convention. When the hell do you have time to breathe?
I mean, time management's important, and you just try to, when it's fun, it's all right. I mean, sometimes I take a breather at my actual work.
I understand that. Yeah, I do the same thing a good bit. So tell us a little bit about your time, just about being a haunt actor in general. What's in the middle of the season, what's it like going through all that and the experiences, and just what's it like to be a haunt actor?
I think a haunt actor, I think it's a lot more challenging than a lot of people think it is. Like the reason I got into it was because I'm actually born on Halloween.
That is awesome. How the fuck? He's got Maximus as his name, and he's born on Halloween. Huh? The fuck, man? I'm sorry. Go on.
I'm just awesome. I don't know. So that's the whole reason why I got into it. I mean, all my birthday parties were, Halloween costume parties, and I got presents. So Halloween's always been associated with positive stuff for me. But and I did the home haunt for a little bit, and then when I moved down to the Cincinnati area, I went and applied to work at the Dent Schoolhouse, and I did. And I was shocked at how exhausted I was my first couple nights there. It's I mean, it was trying to get the chainsaw going, trying to chase after people. The chainsaw wouldn't work, and the managers walking by my box, and when they walk through, we're supposed to still do our scare, and I'm not coming out with a chainsaw, and his name's at the time was Terry, and he's looking at my box like, okay, is this guy gonna jump out or what? and and it's there's a hard there's a stamina that's needed to get through the entire season, and it takes a commitment to get all the way through. And I was very proud of myself once I made it all the way through my first season, and I think at the end of every season I'm proud that I make it through. But I think everybody will agree that by the time January or February rolls around, we're anxious for the fall season to come right back and for us to get right back into it.
That's so cool. So you talked a little bit about you started working with the yard haunts, and then you got into the big leagues a little bit with Dent. What's the big difference between working a yard haunt versus going somewhere, lack of a better term, a commercial haunt like the Dent Schoolhouse?
Well, the yard haunt was a lot of fun. Like I would say that the yard haunt started out, I don't know, one of those Halloween store chains that pop up in Springfield, Ohio popped up, and I went in there, and there was a Midnight Syndicate CD, and I took it. And for trick or treating that year, I put out a CD player on my front porch, and I played a Midnight Syndicate CD while people were trick or treating, and that's kind of where it started. And you can kind of build from there, but it was whatever I wanted it to be, and you put in all this effort for one night. My yard haunt was always just trick or treating night, and in Springfield, Ohio, trick or treating is pretty much never on Halloween. It's always on the Saturday closest to Halloween. So it was always a Saturday gig, and you set up, you did a little walkthrough, and then people left. But as it developed, more people showed up each year, and then there was a couple years I took off because I was working at Dent the entire time, and people asked, where it went. So the yard haunt, though small, it's mine. I get to do with it what I want. I set things up. I kind of direct everything. And then when I went to Dent, there was so much that I learned. I learned about, different kind of scares. I learned about ways that, people can hide. I learned about distraction scares. I learned about statue scares. And then a couple years into Dent, I was like, what? I really want to go back and pick up my yard haunt again, just to incorporate a few things. But again, it's just a one night deal. I set up that day, and since it's my parents' property in Springfield, it's my parents' house. It pretty much has to get set up and torn down that same day. And because I love my parents to death. I'm thankful for them to let me use the space for the yard haunt, but they tolerated that one night, and then it's got to go. So there's a lot of great stuff with the yard haunt, but Dent, wow, the amount of building, the detail, the the electronics, the acting, the management, the fire codes, the permits, everything that goes on to it. It's just a very big production. And I really appreciate Bud, Josh, and Chuck letting me be a part of it and learning more about it each year, because there's so much that goes into it. So when watching any other haunt type show and people are asking questions like, well, what's some advice, if you're getting started in it? And a lot of them say, don't do it. Because there is a lot that goes into it. So I think um, the main, so cut it short. The main difference is probably that there's a lot of permits and liabilities and a lot of things that go into the professional haunt business. And for a yard haunter, there's a lot of fun. There's fun at Dent. There's tons of fun. I've got some, great scare stories, but um, it is a business. And yard haunt, I'm not charging. If I start charging, I get into the permit stuff, and I'm not willing to do it there. So, I guess I get to enjoy both worlds.
Nice, nice, and I get that that ownership. No matter how big it is, that's a big thing. It means a lot. Even with what we have going on here, we're not the biggest production going on by any stretch of the imagination, but it's ours. I can do whatever I want with this. I can be whatever I want with this, and it's perfectly fine. And I understand that, man. I get that. Ownership is a big deal, man. So looking back at the 2018 haunt season, you said you had some memorable scares. I want to talk about that, but before we talk about that, what was your favorite role looking back at 2018 that you got to play?
Well, 2018, the main character I was a character named Pumpkin Smasher. He was a queue line character. He was out front. He was pretty much get up in all orange, and he carried around a giant mallet. His whole thing, like you interviewed Alex, who
Yes.
played Geister. So the whole thing is
You weren't trying to
the
smash
story.
Alex' head, were you?
Well, that was the plan, because Geister, like Pumpkin Smasher, has this face that's all kind of carved up and looks messed up and everything. And Geister did that to Pumpkin Smasher when he was younger. So my goal is to destroy all the pumpkins and Geister, who is a pumpkin come to life. So that's, it's my goal to destroy him. So that's why when you come through, Pumpkin Smasher's in the front, Geister's in the Fall Festival area. And, and I would taunt Geister, try to get him to come out. He wouldn't come out. Sometimes he'd poke his head out. I'd run after him, and then he escapes. So Pumpkin Smasher was great, and he was a difficult character because he's got to be a mixture of like a jerk, but also kind of funny. He's like that uncle that comes around that everybody kind of loves, but also is sort of the rough and tumble play type.
Heard. Heard. I have a question, and we talked about it in our original review of the Dent Schoolhouse. The ice cream man that was in the queue line. What's the story with Ice Cream Man? I have to know.
The Ice Cream Man. See, the Ice Cream Man had been experimented with quite a bit, and I know that there was even a promo video made with him.
Yeah.
And I know that they tried him out this year more. Like, he was much more visible this year than he was previous years. I mean, he's kind of there, and it takes a special kind of actor to work that role, because the mask is slightly difficult to see out of, and
I could imagine.
yeah, and it only fits certain people, but it kind of had this like childish appeal, like, oh, here's the Ice Cream Man, kids love him. But if he's an ice cream dude that's scooping out guts and eyes of all these dead kids, it kind of went along with the story in that way. I never was the ice cream guy. I'm too big to be in that costume, but I've known some of the other actors that have done it. But the great thing about him was that you could kind of make him work any way that you wanted. He actually offered a bit of freedom to the actor to try out, okay, does this work? Does that work? Make him work, because I think they worked hard on that costume. So they want to make him work, but he's, I think it's going to take a creative mind to really bring the Ice Cream Man to life.
Yeah, I think so. It's a tough character to pull off. He can very easily come off as goofy if done the wrong way, I think. I'm not gonna lie, we made Geister or Alex, we made him kick the Ice Cream Man out of our photo with him. So apologies if Ice Cream Man's out there watching and you were there that night. You were great, but you just couldn't be in the photo. But anyways, so looking back at 2018 again, did you have a moment where you had just that perfect scare?
So, you guys took the fast pass through, did you not?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so in the regular queue line, there's a projector screen next to a school bus.
Okay.
And so in between the projector and the school bus is that door that sometimes Ricky the Nerd or another ticket taker will send you guys in. You go, that's when you're leaving the fall festival and you're beginning to walk into the actual schoolhouse. So what I would do is I'm usually interacting with the queue line, running around doing that, but then I would go behind the bus and then I would run in between the bus and the projector screen at the queue line. So here comes this big fat orange dude with a giant mallet just out of nowhere coming at them. And usually this is when people are starting to like climb over the ropes, falling over each other, bumping into people, and it creates a big giant mess. And I think there was this girl, and I ran out. She fell completely over, and this caught the attention of Zobo, Zobo the clown, and Zobo turned around and he's like, "Whoa, what do we have here?" And then he stood over the girl, and I'm standing over her, and we're just staring down at her, and she's just losing her mind. And everybody's just getting out their cameras, filming and taking pictures because, this girl is just completely losing it, and she's about to go into the house. But that was a great one from this last year.
Did she make it into the schoolhouse, or did she quit right there and there?
She made it in. To her, getting into the fall festival was getting away from me and Zobo. So, it's like, okay, I'm getting out of here. At least if I get away from those two, I'll be fine. So she goes into fall festival, but, Geister and other characters are waiting for her there as well.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So you have a ton of stuff going on, off season, on season, doesn't matter. Tell us about some of the different events you coordinate and that you're involved in during the off season. What all you've got going on there?
In regards to like Dent or
Dent.
Yes, I'm sorry. In regards to Dent, yes.
Okay, so with Dent, I think our crew, they really enjoy visiting other haunts. That's like that's one of the big things we like to do. So there somebody misses me, pause. There's a website, Scare Factor, where you can go on and you can see off-season events. And so you go and you look and you say, oh, okay, who in Ohio has an off-season event? Who in Indiana? Who in Kentucky? And being in Cincinnati, you're right there with Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. So we look it up and we see who's close by, usually within a 2-hour drive, and we go visit that haunt typically. And I try to get a group together to go and visit. So that's one thing that we like to do. One other thing that we do is what's called honor flights. What that is an organization who takes military veterans, they fly them to Washington, D.C. for the day. And then when they return back to the home airport, people are there with signs, with posters, and we're there applauding them returning home. So it's kind of like a welcome home parade. And Dent Schoolhouse, for the last 2 years, we've made an effort to be there to welcome home the veterans, to thank them for their service, to give back in that way. Other events we've done, we've gotten involved with like murder mystery dinners. We've had one because it gets people involved to work on their acting skills. We've hosted acting workshops. And sometimes we just get together to hang out. Sometimes it's bowling, sometimes it's laser tag, sometimes it's Nick, actually, who you're going to talk to next week. He's been making an effort to put on improv classes. So there's a lot of things that we try to do. I think, after my first season at Dent, I was so exhausted that I almost quit because I was just so tired. But what brought me back was the family aspect of the haunt, which people are hanging out, wanting to, be together, and it becomes a very close circle of friends. So it's the family. You come to scare people, but you stay for the family, is what I believe.
Heard. We've noticed that with every haunt that we've been to, for the most part, man. It just, once you get to know the people behind the masks, just a little bit, you start to see how much of a close-knit group and community it is, and it's really cool to see, and it's something I don't think a lot of people from the outside would expect. They just look at the horror genre and they just think a lot of us are some weird freaks. And people don't realize, man, it's one of the tightest knit groups that I've ever had the the privilege of being around it on a fairly regular basis these days. It's really cool to see. So we've started to dabble into the paranormal a little bit, just kind of playing around with a few things, trying out a few different things. I don't know if you're a believer or not. I'm very 50-50 either way. I don't think you can be 100% either way personally. But we always like to ask the people that work in these haunts. Now, when we spoke to Alex, and I know he's watching right now, he got chased off by a toilet brush in a laundry room.
Yeah, serves him right. He wasn't allowed to be in there anyway, so justice served.
So have you had any hopefully not a paranormal toilet brush, but have you had any paranormal experiences yourself or moments you look back on, you're like, man, I don't know what the hell that was?
Well, there's two things that come to mind. The first one's short. My second year, I was in the kitchen scene. I was the chef, and I'm serving up some fresh human veal for the customers. And before the kitchen scene is the closet scene, and there's usually a person there, usually doing like a talking bean can type thing. Back in that hallway, the actor hallway, a lot of actors have had a hard time staying back there. There's like they think something's going on, they get touched, and so there was one night, and I won't mention her name, but she was in that drop, and all of a sudden she's saying, Max, Max, and I walk over and I'm like, what's going on? It's like somebody's back here. Well, who? And and she's looking around. I don't know. I just swear somebody's back here. Nobody's back there. It was just her. So, there's been experiences like that. But the big one, Josh, one of the owners, he has access to all the security footage. So after one Saturday, we're in the actor waiting area. It's our meeting room area. And he comes in there and he hooks things up to the TV that's in there. He's like, you guys got to watch this. And he puts on the security footage. And this was in the old cafeteria scene. And the old cafeteria scene comes on. It's a security footage. What we notice is there's this white orb on that's being caught by the camera. And it's going around the room, but not just going around the room, but it's like interacting with it. It's like jumping onto the railing, and then it went to the floor, and then it jumped onto the counter, and then it went through one wall, came back in through that wall. We're all watching this footage like, what is that? And people are kind of losing their mind, like, what is that? And a lot of people are like, well, it's dust or something like that. Like, it didn't act like dust. It disappeared. It came back. It was interacting with the scene. I believe that something was up with that scene. And I was legitimately like shook from that, because it was the first time I think I actually saw something that I couldn't explain caught on film like that.
That's a tense moment. I was very firm in the non-believer standpoint, and we went to an abandoned psychiatric ward in New York, and had an experience there that to this date I can't fully rationally explain what happened. It freaks me out because it's just not. If you can always find some rationale behind it, it seems to make it kind of feel like, man, it's not really. It had to have been this. Then you have like your orb experience, something that I don't know what I have nothing, and it makes you think about things a little bit more. At least it did for me.
Right.
So
you're feeling in Dent, no matter what time of day you're there or anything. It just like not even Bud would stay there overnight. There's a feeling there.
and this is something else we talked about in our original review of Dent.
Stairs.
Yeah, and I've talked to Trish about this. There was a feeling, and it was nothing that the actors were creating or the environment, but when you hit that staircase to go into the basement, for me at least, it felt really heavy. It just kind of, just almost a pushback of one. I mean, and there's nothing. It's just stairs. You can't have stuff popping out of people while they're walking down a staircase. So there's nothing going on there as far as any scare factor from anything else. And it was one of the scarier parts of the hunt for me, was just walking down the stairs into the basement. Yeah.
Like once you get into the story of the Dent Schoolhouse, that's the moment where it's like, all right, this is where we're going to see some stuff. And, that's your last chance to decide whether or not you're going to go see it all the way through or back out.
Yeah. And that it's interesting you say that. The first floor isn't really that bad, except for that porcelain doll room you people have put together, man. The hell with that room. I did not that one got me. I had to stop for a minute and be like, all right, it's okay. One of these is real and it's gonna jump out and scare you, and it's fine. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a good room. That is a very good room.
Yeah.
So anyways, before we get off into debt too awfully much, you're a member of the Ohio Haunters Association as well. So you got the haunt acting, the building you do. We've already talked about you being very busy. Tell us about your goals, mission statement, if you will, in the Ohio's Haunters Association, and what is the Ohio's Haunters Association exactly?
Well, the Ohio Haunters Association, I'm switching hats now.
I got you.
The Ohio Haunters Association, it exists to promote, support, encourage the haunt community in Ohio. And we do this through, communication. We do this through meeting. We do this through sharing ideas. We do this through, trying to go and support haunts and events. We want to share, experiences that everybody's having. If anybody has a question, they can post it and have people in the Ohio community, answer it. The main purpose is like Ohio is a fantastic state for haunting. Pennsylvania is too. Indiana's fantastic. Kentucky and everything has a fantastic haunt scene. But in Ohio, we know that we have a great haunt community. And, we want to bring it together because we think, we I don't think that we like to look at each other like we're each other's competition. I think we like to look at like, look, a strong haunt community is better for everybody. And any way that we can support that ideal, we try to do. And I think Jason, when he came up with the idea, him and Jason Wilson and Katie, I jumped on it as soon as I heard the advertisement for it on the Big Scary Show. I was like, yes, I want to be part of that. I want to support the haunt community. This is a fantastic hobby of mine. So any way we can support the haunt community, that's what we want to do.
Nice, nice. And I will say, it does seem like Ohio is kind of the mecca for haunted attractions right now, man. It seems to be the centerpiece, and everything kind of spreads out from it. And I might be looking at it wrong, but there's some heavy hitters in Ohio as far as the haunt world goes, and some strong attractions up there, man. So I get it. It's a good spot to be centralized with.
And not even the ones that may be most well known. Like there are some haunts that you might even consider to be smaller haunts, but man, when you go there and you see the work that they've put in and what they are doing individually, there's so much. And that's why I like being a part of it the most, is because it provides an opportunity for me to see things I don't get to see during my haunt season because I'm working. I'm acting.
Yeah.
I don't get to visit everybody else. But through Ohio Haunters Association, you actually get to talk with and sometimes even see different haunted attractions. Like last weekend, we visited the Haunted Town Hall in Lafayette. They were hosting a tax day haunt, which I thought was extremely unique. And they took this old firehouse and turned it into a haunted town hall. And it's in this small village. But these guys have been around for like 8 years. 8 years in a tiny kind of village, but they're thriving and they're growing. And there's a lot there to see. And seeing these stories and experiencing these things is the big part of Ohio Horror Association, is like you get to see these things.
That's very cool. So tell us a little bit about the trades haunted attraction owners can do through the association.
Well, you can sort of post if you have like equipment that you're not using, or if you're looking for things, you can post it on there. I know, like for example, last season at Dent, we were getting rid of some old walls that we weren't using anymore, and posted it and said, hey, can somebody use these? We can either throw them out, or someone in the haunt community can use them. And a haunt owner in Springboro was like, yeah, absolutely. And He came and got them, and I got to see the pictures of what he used it for, and that worked out. So people are able to post things like that. They're also able to post their businesses, like if they create props, if they do makeup, if they provide any kind of haunt related service, they can post it on there and make themselves available and known.
Very cool. Very cool. I like that. That's got to be helpful.
Mhm.
So we've talked about the Ohio Halloween and Hunters Convention coming up, May 17th to the 19th. You yourself talked us into going. So if we're disappointed, we're going to come straight for you. We're gonna look specifically for you. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm pretty stoked about this. We got two haunted attractions that have already agreed to do interviews with us while we're up there. So we're very excited about that. That's pretty cool. And we thank you for bringing that to us and showing us that it was out there.
Mhm.
But
Grave Digger's gonna hang out with us.
yeah, we're gonna hang out with Grave Digger, and he's gonna be doing Talking Scared, I think, in July as well. So that's pretty cool. But
Mhm.
anyway, May 17th to the 19th is when this will be going down. We're gonna be up there the 17th and the 18th. But tell us about it, man. What do we have to look forward to going up there?
Well, first, it's being hosted at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. And for those of you who are big Shawshank Redemption fans, that is where that movie was filmed. It is a big historic building. So that's actually kind of how they're advertising themselves now. They're incorporating the Shawshank Redemption piece into it a lot more in that building. So what we have done is we are taking one of the wings. So there's the main central building, and there's a wing to the east and a wing to the west. I cannot exactly remember which wing we're taking, but we're putting the vendors in the cell blocks. And you got to look at this like, okay, there's going to be, you're walking in, these cell blocks go up, I don't know, like 10, 12 stories, and at the bottom on the floor you got all these vendors, and it's a creepy environment, and there's going to be all these haunt related vendors, 40 plus of them. So you can come through, you see a lot of haunt related vendors. Blood Prison is the haunted attraction that runs out of the Ohio State Reformatory. They're going to be operating Friday night for our get together, and they're also going to be operating Saturday afternoon. So you can come through, you can see haunt related vendors, you can go through a haunted attraction that's there at the Reformatory. And if you're more into the historical side of it, the reformatory is also going to be open for you to take tours. So you can go through the whole prison, see the historical side of it, take the actual tour. There's self-guided tours. There's tour guides there. You can see where different parts of the film were filmed. You can come through see, or you can come through see us. Go through the vendors, see the haunted attractions. You also have Saturday night. You have Lessons in Fear Haunted House, but I think they're changing their name to Mohican Haunted House. Is I think they're rebranding their name to Mohican Haunted House. Mohican's a name. There's a state park out there called Mohican, so it's a name that's very known to that area. So Mohican Haunted House and Trail of Nightmares is the other haunt that will be open Saturday night for you to go through. Um, and there's also the Freakers Ball. You can come to a costume ball that's going to be at the Richland County Fairgrounds. Come dressed up. You're going to get a photo of you in your costume with so there's going to be a photo printout for you. You can do that. And those that are interested can go back to, if you sign up for it, you should sign up beforehand, buy a ticket for it. Go back to the reformatory that night for a ghost tour, where you go through the reformatory for a ghost tour. That's the paranormal um, people that enjoy that kind of thing have that opportunity too. So, we're looking for this to be a lot of fun for a lot of people. The Friday night gatherings being sponsored by Brimstone Haunt, and we have a lot of great sponsors for the um, for this convention, and it's just amazing how many people have stepped up and said, "I want to be a part of this." And this, this came about, and we don't hide this fact. Midwest Haunters Convention moving to Chicago, that's a great move for that convention. They, moving to a different area, get to build do bus tours out there. But those of us in Ohio, we still want to party. and we still want to get together and celebrate the haunting culture that we have here in Ohio. So, that's kind of how it came about, and we're very much looking forward to this, and we'll be excited to hear from everybody what they thought of it and maybe what we can do for the next year as well.
Very cool. So we're getting close to kind of wrapping it up here, but I'm gonna put you on the spot here for just a second. Putting Dent's out of contention. You do too much with Dent for them to qualify for this question.
Okay.
You go to a lot of different haunts. You're involved with a lot of different conventions. You see a ton of this stuff. Is there one particular haunt that sticks out in mind that you're just like, you know what? That place was the shit. That was probably one of the best ones I've been to.
Yes. Look, everybody that I've come and seen, all the owners that have talked with me, all the actors that communicate with me, you guys are fantastic. And, I love everybody that has welcomed me to their haunt and to visit and everything. However, I will say, this last January, those of us in the Ohio Haunters Association, we went down to HauntCon to promote our convention. So HauntCon's also a sponsor. So we went down there to promote our convention. And while we were there, a friend of ours arranged for us to get a tour of the 13th Gate in Baton Rouge. And we went through that thing, and when we got out, we were like, wow. Like, just wow. I mean, there's so much I could say about it, but I would honestly say if you are a haunt enthusiast, just go. Like, make the trip, make the plan, just go visit it. That haunt is something else. I would say, that is just go see it. You'll see why I say wow.
Heard. It's I don't think it made our list this year. I don't think so, but it's definitely on our radar to go and see that. Now, the walkthrough haunts, they're always going to be, I think, top dog in the haunt world, but there's absolutely no denying the fact that immersive haunts are on the rise. They seem to be getting more and more popular every year. Not only that, they seem to be getting more and more extreme as the years go by as well, and just continue to push the envelope. What's your feeling on the immersive haunt experiences? Have you done an immersive haunt experience? And if you haven't, is it something that you would do?
I haven't done an immersive haunt experience myself. I'm not opposed to them. If I believe that they're done in a professional sense. If you get to the line where I believe that it's just torture, like just for the sake of being tortured, I'm not into it. I think that haunts going. What's that?
I'm with you. Fuck McCamey Manor.
Look, McCamey has a lot of ideas and he sees them out. That's just not my thing. Yeah. But I can't deny that there are people who are willingly signing up for that experience. And if they want to do that, good luck, I guess. But I don't think that's representative of the haunt community in the sense that, like, look, there's haunts that are doing touching. There's haunts that do light touching. There are haunts that do extreme touching. There are haunts that give you the opportunity to buy a touch pass. They'll have the admission ticket and they're like, hey, $3 more, it can be a touch pass, or $3 or $5 more. And I've gone through there's Face Your Fears Hotel of Terror in Springfield, Ohio. There's Haunted Hotel in Louisville, Kentucky. Those guys, they will get you if you go through. But each actor that I've talked to there, they have said, look, touching can add to the experience, but none of them need it. If they want to scare you, they will scare you. They don't need the touching. But if you do it creatively enough, it can add to the experience. At Dent, the last few years we've been doing a lights out touch experience for the first weekend in November, but that's also optional. So the immersive haunt experience, I have heard about a few, but I haven't experienced it myself. And if it's your thing, it's your thing, but it's not mine.
I hear you. I hear you. Very cool. Very cool. We just always like to hear everybody's opinion on that because it's just such a growing trend. And it's always very, very different viewpoints on it from a lot of different people. And we just always like to hear everybody's opinion on it and just see what they think about it. because there's no denying that it is on the rise.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who want a more extreme experience, and I get that. People want scarier movies and everything, but that's a beautiful thing about the haunt community is these owners and these people who build these haunts, they know what the customers want, and they're working every single year, and they're trying to build their budget as best as they can to meet the expectations of the customers, and those are the opinions that matter the most to I think a lot of the haunt owners is they want to know what the customer wants and they want to deliver that experience and they're trying really hard. I mean, the torture thing, I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm not. I think there's a fine line, and it's real easy to cross it if you're not careful and you don't know what you're doing with it and everything like that. But if it's done right and it's done correctly, it can be beautiful. But it can also completely and totally ruin your experience and your taste for haunted houses if it's done wrong too.
Absolutely.
So it's a dangerous toy to play with. Well, we're about to wrap it up, but before we do that, we always open up the floor to the guests to say whatever the hell they want. Literally, anything you want to say, anything you want to talk about, any shout outs you want to give. It's 100% yours, man. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
I really want to say a big thank you. Nick and Penny and Alex and Kaylee and Paige are all upstairs. They're watching this. I thank them for being part of my haunt family and being part of this. Margaret and Terry, they are managers and haunt trainers of mine, and Terry has trained me in acting, and Margaret has been a part of me a lot to encourage me to be the best I can be. A really big shout out to Bud, Josh, and Chuck. You guys have created this amazing haunt, and I'm so happy that I get to be a part of it. Jason and Katie, leading the Ohio Haunters Association. You're welcome. Nick came down and said, you're welcome. Jason and Katie, leading the Ohio Haunters Association. You're going to talk to Gravedigger. He's over there in Sydney, Iowa. He is a great networker in the haunt community, and I really appreciate him bringing me into a community known as Haunt Chat. We get together on Wednesdays and Saturday nights. We just get onto Google Hangouts and we chat about haunt stuff. He's been fantastic with all that. Ryan, Nikki, and Kelly in Columbus, they're really great home haunter friends. Who helped me out with my home haunt this year. My sister Christina and Alexander, my brother, who have helped me with my home haunt. Mom and Dad for letting me use the property. Crystal, Timmy, Sean, Christian, for Anthony, Andrew, and Matt for all helping out with the home haunt. I couldn't do it without actors, and you guys are really helpful. So you can check out my Facebook page for the home haunt, Fright on Fountain. Follow the Dent Schoolhouse. Go to www.frightsite.com. Go to OhioHauntersAssociation.com, Ohio Halloween and Haunters Convention.com. And to anyone who's interested in the haunt community, you can dig so far into this community. There's Facebook groups, there's haunters all over. Everybody's anxious to share what they've done and what they are able to do and their creativity. You can really network really well in this community. And you know what? And what you get out of it is that, this big country of ours seems a little bit, closer to home. I'm on Wednesday nights and Saturday nights with people all the way in this island in Canada, but we're talking about haunt stuff. And so, explore. And don't bash other haunts. It's not cool. Go and visit. Be courteous guests. And haunts. If you have other haunters visiting your haunt, be gracious hosts, and give them an experience, just like you would anybody else. And haunters, if you're visiting, be courteous guests, and support and uplift each other. Because I think we all agree we want them coming to our event. They could be going to movies. They could be going to Friday night football games, but we want them coming to us. So support and uplift each other.
Awesome, man. Well, Maximus, we thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you here shortly. It's not too far away.
Zach, I'm sorry, I forgot about Zach. He's here too.
That was a long list that you went through, man. I was impressed. I would have forgot half the people on that list. So
I probably forgot someone, but you know, it's everybody's made that experience my great. And I really appreciate you and Trish for having me on, and you know, thank you for letting me be with you to celebrate your birthday, Trish. It means a lot.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming to Dent and reviewing. You know, it was great hearing what you guys thought about it. And, you know, when you come through, I'm going to be eyeballing for you. So
I got you. I got you.
Was everyone have to start coming in disguise to these places?
Start wearing masks and stuff.
Don't buy the fast pass next time so I can have a chance to mess with you.
I got you. I got you. I got you. All right. So Maximus, again, man, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Cannot wait to get up and go see what you got going on in Ohio. May 17th to the 19th, Ohio Haunters Convention. Get your ass up there. Everybody that's watching, go. Just go. All right? It's going to be fun. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much. I know Louis B, he qualified. What? Oh. Anyways, she tries to write stuff down and I can't read it half the time. Anyways, we're done here. Thank you, Maximus. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you Monday at 9:30. We'll be talking with Nick. See you.